Welcome back to Wealth Stories. Thank you for watching and staying with this powerful story. This is the final episode of I Was Denied My Father's Funeral by My Stepmom, the secret behind it. In the last episode, Raymond fought boldly for his rights and inheritance, while Linda refused to back down as she struggled to maintain control. Now, every hidden truth is about to come to light. Who emerged victorious? Who lost everything in the end? Let's find out together. And before we continue, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, and turn on your notification bell so you never miss more inspiring and emotional stories on Wealth Stories. Later that evening, Raymond met his Aunt Renee at a quiet cafe. She looked tired, older than he remembered. "I didn't fight her," she said as soon as they sat down. "And I regret that." Raymond shook his head. "You didn't know." "I knew enough," she said softly. "Linda told us the service had to be quick. Said Richard didn't want complications." Raymond raised an eyebrow. "Complications like me?" Renee nodded slowly. "Yes." She reached into her purse and pulled out her phone. "There's something else," she said. "Your father called me the week before he died." Raymond leaned forward. "What did he say?" "He asked me if I thought you'd forgive him," she replied, "for letting things go quiet." Raymond swallowed. "He said Linda didn't like your name coming up," Renee continued. "Said it caused arguments." Raymond looked away. His anger was steady now, not explosive, but clear. "She managed him," he said, "until the end." Renee nodded. "And she underestimated one thing." Raymond met her eyes. "What's that?" "She thought you'd stay gone," Renee said. "She didn't expect you to come back asking questions." Raymond leaned back in his chair. Linda had controlled the funeral. But she hadn't controlled memory. And memory, once shared, had momentum. That night, Raymond forwarded every message, every call detail, every statement to Mr. Daniels. The lawyer replied with one line. "This is enough to proceed." Raymond stared at the screen. For the first time since his father died, the grief loosened its grip just slightly. Not because the pain was gone, but because the truth was no longer alone. Raymond didn't expect another letter. He thought the one from Mrs. Turner was all there was, his father's final voice, fragile but clear. But grief has layers, and so does truth. 2 days after meeting Aunt Renee, Raymond received an email from Mr. Daniels. Subject: New development message. Please come to my office. Immediately. Raymond arrived within the hour. Mr. Daniels didn't waste time. "Your father left something else," he said, sliding a thin manila envelope across the desk. "Not a will. Not legal instructions." Raymond frowned. "Then what is it?" "A personal letter," Mr. Daniels replied. "Filed with a timestamp and witness signature. Your father insisted it be released only if you were excluded from funeral arrangements." Raymond's stomach tightened. He expected this. Mr. Daniels nodded. "Unfortunately, yes." Raymond opened the envelope. The handwriting was shakier this time, but unmistakable. "My son Raymond. If you are reading this, then Linda has done what I feared she might do." Raymond's jaw clenched. "I love my wife, but love does not cancel control. And control has been her weakness." Raymond exhaled slowly. "I want it known, publicly if necessary, that any decision to exclude my son from my funeral, burial, or mourning process is against my wishes." His hands trembled. "Raymond is my blood, my legacy, my responsibility." He paused, then continued. "I am aware that Linda has been managing my affairs during my illness. I consented out of trust. That trust weakened when she began to rewrite my relationships." Raymond felt a sharp ache in his chest. "I apologize to my son for not stopping her sooner. Silence was my failure." The letter ended with one sentence, underlined twice. "If this letter is released, it is because the truth needed protection." Raymond lowered the paper slowly. "That changes everything," he said. Mr. Daniels nodded. It establishes intent. Clear intent. What does that mean for her? Raymond asked. It means she acted against a dying man's wishes, the lawyer replied, and intentionally misled family members. Raymond looked down at the letter again. She didn't just hurt me, he said quietly. She disrespected him. Mr. Daniels folded his hands. Which courts do not look kindly upon. That evening, Raymond sat alone in his hotel room again, but this time he wasn't breaking. He was thinking. Linda had tried to control the narrative, but his father had left receipts. And truth, once written, does not stay hidden. The next step wouldn't be loud. It wouldn't be emotional. It would be precise. Because Raymond wasn't fighting for revenge. He was fighting for recognition. For dignity. For the right to mourn without permission. Raymond had always believed his mother left quietly. That was the story Linda repeated over the years. Calm, polished, believable. Angela chose to go. She didn't want the responsibility anymore. She walked away. As a child, Raymond had accepted it because children accept what adults give them, even when it hurts. But that night, sitting across from Aunt Renee in her living room, Raymond realized how carefully that lie had been constructed. She didn't leave, Renee said softly. She was pushed. Raymond looked up. What? Renee sighed deeply, as if opening a door she'd kept shut for years. Your mother didn't want a divorce, she said. She wanted counseling. Time. Help. Raymond felt his chest tighten. Linda was already around, Renee continued. Not openly. Not officially. But close enough. Raymond's hands curled into fists. She made your mother feel small, Renee said. Questioned her stability. Her emotions. Told Richard that Angela was too sensitive. Raymond swallowed. That sounds familiar. Renee nodded sadly. Linda has a way of sounding reasonable while doing damage. Raymond remembered his mother crying quietly in the kitchen. Remembered how she always apologized, even when she hadn't done anything wrong. She didn't abandon me, he whispered. No, Renee said firmly. She loved you. She fought for you. But she was worn down. Raymond stared at the floor. So Linda feared me, he said slowly. Because I remembered my mother. Yes, Renee replied. And because your presence reminded her of how she entered that marriage. The pieces clicked into place. Linda didn't just want control. She wanted erasure. Raymond was proof that another woman had existed. That another love had come first. That history could contradict her version of events. That night, Raymond visited the storage unit his father had kept for years. Inside were boxes labeled neatly. Photos. Letters. Old documents. At the bottom of one box, he found a folder marked Angela. His hands shook as he opened it. There were letters his mother had written to his father. Never cruel, never bitter. Just tired. Hurt. Hopeful. One line stood out. I don't recognize myself anymore. I feel managed, not loved. Raymond closed his eyes. That was it. Linda hadn't replaced his mother. She had erased her. And Raymond, by surviving, remembering, returning, was the one thing Linda could never fully control. For the first time, Raymond didn't just feel grief for his father. He felt justice rising for his mother too. Linda played the grieving widow perfectly. Black dresses. Soft voice. Careful tears at church. She thanked people for their support, and spoke about Richard as if she alone had known him deeply. But grief, when rehearsed, slips. Raymond saw it during the memorial luncheon held a week after the burial. He didn't plan to attend. But when Aunt Renee told him Linda had invited extended family and old friends, while still pretending Raymond didn't exist, he knew silence was no longer an option. He walked in calmly. Conversations stopped. Forks paused midair. Linda froze when she saw him. Raymond, someone whispered. You're here. Yes, Raymond said evenly. I'm family. Linda approached him quickly, her smile tight. "This is not appropriate." "For who?" Raymond asked. "You." She lowered her voice. "You're upsetting people." "No," he replied. "I'm reminding them." A few heads nodded quietly. Linda turned to the room. "Richard wanted peace," she said loudly. "Let's respect that." Raymond stepped forward. "Peace doesn't require exclusion," he said. "And my father never wanted his son erased." A murmur spread. Linda's face flushed. "You're grieving. You're confused." Raymond didn't raise his voice. "I was denied the right to bury my father," he said. "That wasn't confusion. That was a decision. Yours." Silence fell hard. An older church member spoke up. "Linda, is that true?" Linda hesitated. Just a second too long. "He couldn't make it," she said. "I did what I thought was best." Raymond shook his head. "You never asked me." The room shifted. Sympathy moved, subtly but clearly. Linda realized then that control worked best in private. In public, it cracked. She left early that day. Not in tears. In anger. And Raymond understood something important as he watched her go. She wasn't afraid of losing her husband anymore. She was afraid of losing the story she built to replace him. Once the silence broke, it couldn't be repaired. Phone calls stopped being polite. Family group chats split into smaller ones. Some relatives stopped responding altogether. Not everyone was brave enough to question Linda. "She's still his wife," one uncle said. "She did what she thought was right," a cousin added. Raymond listened, but he no longer begged to be understood. Others chose differently. Aunt Renee stood beside him openly. So did Calvin Brooks. So did two of Richard's longtime friends. "It's not about marriage," one of them said. "It's about truth. And truth forces people to pick sides." Mr. Daniels called Linda informally. She arrived confident, dressed sharply, prepared to dominate. But Mr. Daniels asked only one question. "Did Richard Hill explicitly tell you to exclude his son from his funeral?" Linda paused. "I don't recall," she said carefully. Mr. Daniels slid the letter across the table. Her confidence evaporated. Silence answered for her. And silence, in courtrooms, speaks loudly. Documents surfaced. Emails Linda had deleted, but not fully erased. Medical consent forms showing manipulation. Witness statements confirming Richard wanted Raymond present. Linda's control wasn't subtle anymore. It was documented. And documentation doesn't bend to emotion. Linda stopped attending family events. Stopped answering certain calls. Stopped smiling publicly. People noticed. Church whispers replaced sympathy. Questions replaced comfort. Grief no longer protected her. Linda confronted Raymond one evening outside the house. "You're enjoying this," she accused. Raymond looked at her calmly. "No," he said. "I'm correcting it." Her voice shook. "You're ruining me." "You ruined yourself," Raymond replied. "I just refused to disappear." For the first time, Linda had no response. The will was read quietly. No drama. No surprises. Raymond was acknowledged clearly. Assets divided intentionally. Linda's authority limited. Richard's wishes were undeniable. Linda sat stiff, eyes forward. Raymond felt no triumph. Only closure. It wasn't just money. It was letters. Photographs. "A watch engraved with my son, always." Raymond held it gently. This was inheritance. Not property. Presence. Linda moved out within months. No goodbye. No apology. History would remember her differently than she intended. And Raymond accepted that some people never say sorry. They just leave. Raymond filed no revenge cases. He didn't need to. Truth had already done the work. His father's name was restored. His mother's story reclaimed. his place secured. Sometimes justice doesn't roar. It settles. On a quiet morning, Raymond stood alone at his father's grave. No cameras. No witnesses. No permission needed. "I made it," he said softly. The wind moved through the trees. "I wasn't erased." Raymond placed the watch against the headstone. Then he stood up. Grief remained, but it no longer owned him. Because love, real love, leaves space. And his father, in the end, had made sure of that. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share.